Psykiatriker, läkemedelsföretag och till och med myndighetsorgan är ansvariga för att de preparat de lanserar är säkra. Och även om de motvilligt tillstår de flesta biverkningar som psykofarmaka skapar, är det en de nästan aldrig nämner.
Every single one of these drugs are addictive, psychologically and or physically addictive.
They change your body's makeup, you change your body how it reacts to things. And so even though people, their psychological state, they may be over their depression, they physically will need that drug still. And so that becomes the complication of getting them off.
I have people come to me on a weekend, they've run out of refills, and they say to me, if I don't take this drug, I'm gonna get sick. If I don't take this drug, I'm gonna get sick. We don't talk about psychologically, we don't talk about depression, we don't talk about anxiety. I am going to get sick if I don't take this drug this weekend. It has nothing to do with psychology.
Men hör på vad några psykiatriker som nyligen tillfrågades vid ett APA-möte hade att säga om beroende.
How addictive are psychiatric drugs?
They aren't. Only benzodiazepines.
They're not addictive at all.
Antidepressants are not generally considered addictive.
SSRIs are not addictive.
Antipsychotics, they don't cause addiction.
Major tranquilizers are all safe as far as addiction is concerned.
The drugs that most of us are using in neuropsychiatry are not addictive at all.
Så vem har rätt? För att få reda på det behöver vi bara fråga tidigare patienter som har egen erfarenhet.
Psychologists and psychiatrists, I went to both. They never told me that they would be addictive. They would cause me to have these thoughts.
For sure, the psychiatric drugs I was on was addicting.
Within six months to 9 months, I was hooked.
Xanax had a hold of me. I mean, I was going through a bottle of pills every 3 or 4 days.
I lost my job over it. Over a prescription drug that's not supposed to be addictive. I lost my job.
The reality is that it is addicting. It will wreck a person's life.
Denna oenighet när det gäller beroende kommer sig helt enkelt av ord och deras betydelser. De flesta anser att beroende innebär ett otyglat psykiskt eller fysiskt begär för en viss substans. Men inte psykiatriker. De definierar beroende som ett begär efter en allt högre dos av samma preparat, medan det otyglade behovet att fortsätta ta ett preparat bara klassas som vanebruk. Därför erkänner inte psykiatriker att deras preparat är beroendeframkallande.
In their definition, a very small percentage of people become addicted. The reality is a large percentage of people can't get off these drugs, and they call that dependence. It's all a matter of how they term it.
And when you look at addiction, it could be that their tolerance increases and their needs and wants to use the medications increase, or it could be they simply, once they start on the medication, they're not able to come off of it without help. They try to, and as soon as they try to come off the medications, they start to have symptoms that are unwanted and obviously keep them wanting to take the medications again.
When you explain to them how addictive it is, they are surprised because they're like, well, it's a prescription. So I do believe that a lot of people don't really know how harmful these meds are. They don't view them as dangerous as some of the street drugs.
Men många psykofarmaka har blivit gatudroger, speciellt de preparat som ges till barn med diagnosen ouppmärksamhet eller hyperaktivitet. Stimulantia såsom Ritalin, Adderall och Concerta är så vanebildande att de av USAs narkotikamyndighet placeras i kategori 2, kategorin för högst beroendeframkallande substanser, på samma lista som morfin och kokain.
Biochemistry and pharmacology of Ritalin is exactly the same as that of cocaine, except for the speed of onset.
Likheten mellan Ritalin och kokain blir uppenbar när man beaktar det stora problemet med missbruk av stimulantia i våra skolor, där Ritalin-tabletter och den kemiska kusinen Adderall tas som en rekreationell drog av barn på skolgården.
Some of my friends took Ritalin and Adderall just to get high, like that I've known throughout the years. Kids will chop that stuff up with a razor blade. It's pure, man. Pure drug, you know, that's why kids like it. They chop it up with a razor blade and snort it.
My cousin Sammy had this Ritalin and we would eat it and we'd be able to stay up all night and play video games. It was pupils would dilate. It was just outrageous.
Matter of fact, in 8th grade, I got kicked out of school 3 days before it let out for selling Ritalin and actually snorting lines in the back of the classroom. So yes, sir, it definitely caused me some problems there, and I definitely had people buying them from me. Yes.
Det här är inte ett litet problem. 2006 upptäckte forskare att mer än 7 miljoner amerikaner hade missbrukat stimulantia. Därtill blir 75 000 amerikanska tonåringar och äldre ungdomar beroende varje år. Förutom att de som tar stimulantia blir beroende är det också välkänt att de är inkörsdroger som leder till beroende av sådana gatudroger som kokain, heroin och metamfetamin.
When you provide drugs in a manner which most of our children are being provided drugs at an early age in life, only prepares that child to be on more drugs as they get older.
Men i ett flertal publikationer som nyligen utgivits uppmuntrar faktiskt psykiatriker de barn som stämplats med ADHD att ta stimulantia för att minska risken för framtida missbruk av kokain och andra gatudroger. Men bevisen avslöjar inte bara att den teorin saknar grund utan att det motsatta är sant.
When I've spoken to people who are methamphetamine addicts, they said that the drug that they started taking almost consistently was Ritalin.
The longer a child is on Ritalin, the more the likelihood that they may become addicted, whether it's Ritalin or Concerta or Adderall, okay, or a number of other drugs.
Stimulantia är inte den enda sorts psykofarmaka som är starkt beroendeframkallande. Benzodiazepiner, till exempel, är lugnande medel som inom 14 dagar kan göra en beroende. Ta till exempel benzodiazepinen Xanax som efter att ha funnits på marknaden i så lite som 5 år skapade 1,5 miljoner missbrukare årligen. Och att sluta kan vara mycket svårt. Abstinenssymptomen för Xanax innefattar skakningar, ingen aptit, muskelkramper, minnes- och koncentrationssvårigheter, sömnlöshet, agitation, panik och ångest.
Some of the psych medicines, particularly the benzodiazepines, are some of the most addictive drugs there are in terms of the persistent withdrawal anxiety that these drugs cause.
I have been in the position of having to withdraw a number of people from benzodiazepines that I didn't put on them, obviously. And it's difficult. It's really difficult.
Prescription benzodiazepines, I think, are much more dangerous and much harder to come off of for the patient than the street drugs are.
Men de som överlevt säger att benzodiazepiner inte är den enda klassen psykofarmaka som är extremt svår att sluta med.
I had about a 10-year time frame in my life where I abused both street drugs and prescription drugs. And the drugs that were the hardest to come off of, in my opinion, were the psychiatric medications. And I mean worse to come off of than a drug like heroin.
Withdrawal symptoms from the psychiatric drugs just made my mind go crazy. I couldn't think. I couldn't form coherent thoughts whatsoever.
It was racing. I had highs and lows, ups and downs, hot and cold sweats.
I went through seizures. I was sweating with night sweats so bad I was wetting my bed just with sweat.
I had tremors really bad. I mean, I joked that I looked like I had the end stages of Parkinson's disease, but you couldn't even hold me still when I was going through withdrawals. My legs would shake. I couldn't sleep.
No one in the world should have to go through what I went through, in my opinion, and I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy.
Till och med nyfödda barn vars mödrar tog psykofarmaka under graviditeten kan uppleva abstinensbesvär. Dessa spädbarn drabbas av lättretlighet, hyperaktivitet, avvikande sömnvanor, kräkningar, diarré och ingen viktökning. Men att vissa biverkningar förstärks på grund av att man försöker sluta med psykofarmaka är det som kan ha en förödande effekt på individen.
Now the person stops taking the drug, and the effects of the withdrawal or the effects of stop taking the drug are increased and amplified symptoms like the depression or suicide ideas, or etc.
They have tremendous mood swings. They invariably get violent. They cannot control their emotions.
You're very depressed, you're suicidal, you're hallucinating, you're psychotic, you're crazy, you're manic when you stop taking your medication.
Det är därför särskilt antidepressiva SSRI-medel har visat sig utlösa humörsvängningar och okontrollerad ilska när man på olämpligt vis slutar ta dem. Något som har varit en faktor i ett flertal av de senaste massmorden. Maj 1998 hade till exempel den 15-åriga Kip Kinkel precis slutat ta Prozac när han sköt båda sina föräldrar till döds. Han fortsatte sitt vansinnesdåd i sin skola i Oregon där han dödade 2 till och skadade 25. I november 2007 så sköt och dödade Pekka Erik Auvinen 8 personer vid sin skola norr om Helsingfors. Tidigare den hösten hade han antingen minskat sitt intag av eller helt slutat använda de antidepressiva medel han hade förskrivits för social fobi. Alla hjärtans dag 2008, Northern Illinois University. Steven Kazmierczak gick in i en fullsatt hörsal och började skjuta. 5 dog och 18 skadades. Ett par veckor tidigare hade han också abrupt slutat ta sitt antidepressiva medel. Men istället för att bekräfta att tragedier som dessa orsakas av att man försökt sluta med högst beroendeframkallande psykofarmaka är psykiatrikernas sedvanliga reaktion att skylla på att preparatet hade slutat tas och med deras egna ord att den psykiska störningen återkom.
When a psychiatrist says that, well, the reason why they're feeling that way when they get off the drug is because, see, that shows you how bad they really need the drug. Here's the deal. There's no way that that's true.
The reality is, when they stop the drug, they get depressed or they have withdrawal effects of various types. And the reason they're having those effects is because it's a withdrawal effect from the drug.
All you need to do is you need to sit down and listen to anyone who's been on these medications and wants to come off them. And you listen to their story, and you listen to what they're going through, why they want to come off them. And that's it. The conversation stops. The debate ends.
My name is Robin, and currently I am withdrawing from lorazepam, and I am at the 0.4 milligram dose. There we go. Today, I was totally exhausted. I've had 4 nights. 2 nights of insomnia, and then a good night's sleep, then 2 nights of insomnia. I was just hoping that I can sleep better tonight. Didn't sleep good last night. Well, as you can see, today I don't care. I did not get ready, and my wave went down. I'm down in the valley today. One of the side effects or withdrawal symptoms for lorazepam can be night sweats or hot flashes, a little lightheaded and kind of dizzy, anxiety, sore throat, weepy, very, very tired, grouchy, just overwhelmed, distraught, distressed. I began to experience suicidal thoughts. I think I've said a little bit to my husband, but he was already worried enough. This is really the first time I'm saying something about it. I feel like I could have a nervous breakdown. You know, there are just times like I hit a brick wall and I can't do it anymore. It's going to take another, maybe 18, 19, 20 weeks to get off of it. And that is very overwhelming to me. I'm weary today. And this is how I used to be for many weeks with lorazepam. And that's the hardest thing, is you are trapped into living it out the way you have to live it out in order to be safe. So that's frustrating. I just want my life back. And that's where I am today.
Det tog Robin flera månader att avvänja sig från enbart en av de psykiatriska mediciner hon tog. Och missbruksspecialister är eniga om att det bara är säkert att sakta och gradvis sluta ta medicinen.
You just can't cut people off from these drugs. Sometimes it can take up to a year or more depending on the person and how long they've been on the drug and how we wean them off.
You can't stop these drugs cold turkey. No. I would never advise anybody to just stop them. They need to be under the care of a medical practitioner.
When some of my patients come in and they talk to me about getting off of psychiatric medications, I really caution them not to just stop their drugs cold turkey, because that can really send them into a tailspin.
The data is right there. is going to cause the symptoms that it causes, is going to have withdrawal effects.